I want to talk to you about how to create a podcast transcript this year. I mean, you have finished your wonderful podcast interview. You have 30 minutes of raw data, raw audio, and you would like to actually increase the visibility of your audio. And transcription can actually help you. A podcast transcript can really help you a lot. So here's the strategy I want you to think about. When you think about creating a podcast transcript, you have to really understand that a podcast transcript actually extends the shelf life, if you will, of your content. Because the thing is, you have a good voice, you have a very charismatic relationship with your audience, that's for sure. But you have to really understand that you want to increase the accessibility of your content. Because you probably have 10,000 listeners right now, but if you want to scale, if you want to really access a larger pool of listeners, then you have to really think about transcription. And the transcription actually is part of what I call a great Alex experience, a great listener experience. Okay, that's going to help you. But now, one thing for sure, transcription is actually essential to a good PR and podcast accessibility. That's for sure. You can do it yourself. Don't get me wrong. You can do it yourself with some simple tools, or you can hire a freelancer. Yeah, I mean, things can happen. Or you can use a tool or a service to actually get things done. The thing is, which one are you going to choose? Because you are a business, okay? When it comes to transcription, you are a business. When it comes to podcasting, as a podcaster, you are a businessman or a businesswoman, okay? So it's one of those things where you have to really make sure that you use your time accurately. You have to use your time optimally, because otherwise, you'll be doing all the creation, the talking, the editing, and the transcription. That's a lot. That's a crazy lot of things to do. And you only have 24 hours in a day. Think about that, right? And from a scalability point of view, you want to think that in the long run, would you have the same energy? Would you have the same capacity, the same resilience to get this done episode after episode, transcribing all your episode? And again, when you think about 30 minutes of podcast audio, that's a lot of pages when it comes to transcription, a lot of pages. So this is something to really think about. I want to talk to you about the DIY methods for podcast transcription. Okay, the thing is that if your podcast is scripted audio drama, you can certainly use that script. You can also sit down and type out your podcast recording word for word. I mean, totally possible. And if you are already a professional stenographer, this won't bother you much. However, not many people have that skill set or patience. I mean, I remember my mom telling me how fast she can type back in the days, even before you had computers, right? Nowadays, you have computers and you even have mobile phones. So people don't have time anymore to actually, mobile devices, people don't have time anymore to type. So you have to really understand that you have to think about it. There is an element of skill set here. You also can think about Google Docs. So Google Docs has a dictation software. So there's a hack I want to share with you. So this is another option for podcast transcription recommended in a live stream by our friends at Music Radio Creative, is actually to use Google Docs voice typing. And here is how it works. You want to open up Chrome. You have to use Google's Chrome browser. Otherwise, the tool is not available. And you want to go to Google Docs and open a fresh document. Click on Tools and select Voice Typing from the drop-down menu. A nifty little icon on a microphone will appear at the top of the microphone. Select your language. Open up your DAW and start playing the sound file you want transcribed. Your DAW, your digital audio workstation. And click the little microphone icon. It will change colors. As the microphone picks up the dialogue, the text will appear on screen. So it's pretty straightforward. When you try this though, make sure that the audio is queued up to the point where you want it transcribed. If you let it run through a minute or of intro music or so, the voice tapping tool won't recognize the music as anything useful and will shut itself off. So something to really think about. And Google's voice tapping was pretty good at recognizing when I actually said, well, when I tried it. To test its accuracy, you can select US English, UK English, and other types of English, Australian English, to see if there would be differences in the resulting text. There wasn't. So you'll end up with pages and pages of unpunctuated text. It's very stream of consciousness. You'll have to go through it and format it, put it punctuation, and put it in some kind of punctuation and check for errors. Okay. However, it saves you a lot of time over typing the audio word for word. Now, one thing for sure, it's pretty fast, that's for sure. But you got to think about quality control here. Okay. You may notice that as you're making this podcast, a transcript, that you will notice that the dialogue is actually it's not transcribed properly. Also, you can think about video captions. This is another way. So if you think about creating a podcast transcript this year, you can think about video captions. Now, when you think about video captions, this is actually another DIY method. So you can use your podcast audio to make a video file, upload it to YouTube, and use its closed captioning to provide a transcript. And now, I've tried it, and our team has tried it, but we can't really vouch for the accuracy of YouTube's closed captioning. Okay, it's one of those things where you have to really think about. Now, Joe Rogan actually uses this exclusively, and it works for him. But your mileage may actually vary. It's one of those things where you might have to think about another DIY method to actually make things are happening. Headliner is actually a free app which can be used to make audiograms, and it's fun to use. It's 100% worth your time to try it out and see how its captioning system fits your podcast. And this can also work great as social media posts and help encourage your guests to share your episodes in the first place. And also, you can think about your SEO for a second, because you want to make sure that you are expanding the accessibility of your podcast, not only geographically, but also chronologically in terms of time. If your podcast actually was released yesterday, you want to extend the shelf life of that podcast over many months or even years, who knows? Okay. Remember that many people consume their video podcast via YouTube. Okay. So it's not a bad idea to make them available there with captions, but it shouldn't be your only way of publishing those transcripts in the first place. You got to really give yourself a lot of convenience, a lot of efficiency, and that's going to help you. And also, one thing you want to think also is about what you want to think about is that Google is great, but you have also social media. Social media could be a great possibility also when it comes to extending the shelf life of your podcast. Let me talk to you about the options here. So I first talked to you about the DIY, right? DIY part of things. But the second option is that you have the second category of options is that you can outsource podcast transcription. So that's kind of cool. If you don't want if you want to do the transcription yourself, you have a few options. You can actually have humans having someone else do it for you. You can have artificial intelligence, so a software does it, or you can have a combination of both. Okay, and you have to really see what works for you. Now let's talk about human transcription. Now, human transcription is really great for accuracy. Why? Because you have somebody who can really who can go through the file, because humans can understand context and spoken sound in a way that machines can't. And I don't care if somebody's trying to tell you artificial intelligence, blah, 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 blah. We haven't gotten to the point where machines can actually understand context and prose better than humans. If your podcast uses the sentence, "Let's eat grandma," a human would know where to put the comma, while a machine might not. It's also not cheap though. Some transcribers charge by how long it takes them to do the work, others by how much audio you supply. In most cases, it's between $1 to $2 per minute of transcribed audio. And if you look at a site like Upwork or Fiverr.com, you can find a fair number of freelancers who are really specializing in transcription. Okay, and GoTranscript offers 100% human-generated transcription services and offer a minimum of 6-hour turnaround time. And their prices vary by how soon you need your podcast transcript finished and how long your audio files are going to last. expect to spend around 80 cents to $2 per minute. Okay, that's an important element to think about. And one thing I also want to say is that if you have a loyal fan or a close friend who loves your podcast, you may be able to get them to volunteer to transcribe your podcast in a kill swap. Ask them if they would transcribe an episode or two of your podcast in exchange for helping them move house or do something else, right? Try bootstrapping for that matter. That could work. Who knows? So when I think about outsourcing podcast transcription, you like besides using humans, you can using not using humans but hiring humans. Besides hiring humans, you can try artificial intelligence (AI). AI actually has a lower cost. Okay, if you've ever asked Siri to send a message, a text message for you, or if you have asked Google to look something up, you've used something like one of those services. And Odex actually is a machine learning transcription service. Okay, you can actually drag and drop files of various formats, MP3s, WAVs, and M4As, WMAs into the Odex interface, and it will quickly transcribe them. There is a speaker identification feature that's handy for podcast interviews. You can edit your transcriptions easily within Odex before downloading them. Cost-wise, a one-off hour of transcription is priced at $12, but you can save on their subscription packages. Okay. You also have Trint. Trint actually offers a monthly or annual subscription packages, $60 to $85 with a 7-day free trial. So that's kind of cool. And so when you think about Trint, I want you to think about speed. Actually, that's really, really great, especially when it comes to flexibility. And when it comes to Trint, you have they give you a diversity of files. So you can actually the Trint actually gives you flexibility in terms of the amount of files you can upload per month and how many users you can have on the account. However, since a file can be any duration, the starter package will fit most indie podcasters if you organize your audio files well. And Trint also has an iPhone app, so that's really cool, especially when it comes to flexibility, especially in the long run. Now, one thing I want to say is that when you think about Trint, think about your audience and think about the value you are adding to your audience. Think about the Alex you are trying to create, the listener experience you are trying to create for your audience. That's going to help you a lot. I want to talk to you about Temi or Temi. And so when you think about Temi, think about a very similar podcast transcription app. And but this app has one price tier, 25 cents a minute. Okay, that's really great. 25 cents a minute. So their free trial provides one transcript of a 45-minute audio file, and their free demo not only shows you how it transcribes a news piece with multiple speakers and accents, but also will let you practice editing the piece to test the interface. And this free demo is actually 100% worth your time to look at because it can show you good transcript layout. You also have Transcript, and Transcript actually offers a free trial for the first 3 hours of speech unloaded. That's really cool because it gives you flexibility there, okay? And so after that, the service is actually $14 to $18 a month. And so Transcript actually says that they can turn around a 60-minute sound file in about 3 minutes. So this is something to really think about. You also have Sonics, and Sonics is another quick and cheap podcast transcription service. And with Sonics, you have all kinds of capabilities, really, when you think about it. So, for example, the standard package is $10 per hour of uploaded audio. The premium tier is $5 per hour and $22 per user per month. And Sonics provides actually a transcription in multiple languages, even at the standard level. So that's something we love a lot, especially when it comes to helping actually your podcast being accessible in multiple countries, okay? And Sonics actually has a free trial, and the free trial actually includes 30 minutes of transcription service So that gives you a lot of capacity, especially in the long run. And one thing I want to say about those players like Sonics or the Script or like Timmy or Timmy, I mean, all the other players that I share with you, you got to really ask yourself, what are you looking for? What kind of value are you trying to add to your podcast? What kind of Alex? What kind of learning experience? Not learning. What kind of a listener experience are you actually trying to instill like you are trying to create for your listeners? So, when you think about creating a podcast transcript, you might want to think about artificial and human intelligence. And so, when you think about all the players I gave you a little earlier, you have a lot of accuracy, a lot of consistency. That's really cool. So basically, those software tools use a combination of AI transcription with a human checking for accuracy and consistency. Scribby actually offers a pay-as-you-go system, either fully automated for 10 cents a minute or 80 cents a minute for automated transcription with a human editor. Okay, and Scribby is kind of cool because they will actually add on a few cents. It can be from 10 cents to 50 cents if your audio is poor, noisy. In other words, the speaker is not distinct from the background, or for accented speakers. And so Scribby says that it's 50 cents a minute for American speakers. This make you want to try if you are in the States right now. You can also think about Rev.com, and Rev.com might be the most well-known podcast transcription service because it was actually included in Forbes AI 50 list. Okay, and so what I love and what you will love with Rev.com is that you have an automated transcription service, and this service will cost you 25 cents a minute with a 5-minute turnaround time. And basically, Rev.com's human transcription service is a $125 a minute with a 12-hour turnaround time. And basically, Rev.com can even create foreign subtitles for videos, for $3 to $7 per minute. And some podcast hosting services, such as Castos, include transcription services using Rev.com for an additional fee. So when you think about creating a podcast transcript in the first place, you also have to think about where to host it, right? Where to put it, because where does it go? So in the past, a lot of advice was given around copying your transcriptions directly into your episode show notes or blog post. But basically, this is not the right strategy to follow this year, because what was said in the past was that basically adding your podcast transcript to the places I just told you would add in more keywords and so be good for SEO and searchability, right? However, as we don't talk like we write, a transcript can look and read messy. So Google prioritizes well-written content, so it's unlikely a podcast transcript is going to rank well in search, at least without some additional content to bolster it. So it's always a better idea to clearly make downloadable transcripts available via a link in your show notes. This could be in PDF, SRT, or any other appropriate file formats. So overall, when you think about podcast transcription, you have to think about what? Accessibility for your audience. You're trying to really increase the size of your audience, especially when it comes to scaling down the road. That's really important element to think about. So here's a recap into this conversation. I'll share with you how to create a podcast transcript. I give you the strategy, the options, and now the recap. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.